What a great pleasure it is to be at Dundee University. Dundee University is one of the great international universities now because of what it's achieving in international development. Hello. Good evening, everyone. I want to speak about what's happening around the world at the moment. Why is it that in 2011 people feel more insecure than they did 10 years ago or even 20 years ago, and certainly more insecure than 50 years ago? Why is this insecurity so widespread? And what has actually happened that makes people feel more insecure about the future now than perhaps for many years past? And I would like to suggest to you that there is something far more fundamental than we've been discussing in the last few months actually happening in our world and our world economy, and that the forces at work are far bigger and far more profound than perhaps we've realized. You see, we know about the rise of China, and we know about the rise of Asia. China is now about to be the biggest manufacturer in the world, and of course it's the second biggest economy in the world, and obviously a large amount of what we buy in our shops today is produced in China. And we know that we're a far more interdependent world, and that people are connected to other countries and other peoples in a way that we've never understood before because of communications and because of technology. But I want to suggest to you that two big things have happened that are even more profound than that. For the first time, Europe and America together are being outproduced by Asia and the rest of the world, outmanufactured by Asia and the rest of the world, outinvested by Asia and the rest of the world. And so you have a situation where power is shifting across the world in a way that is quite dramatic. The second trend that's happening is that just as they're producing more, they're about to consume more. So the biggest consumer market in the world will soon not be America or Europe, it will be Asia. And in 10 or 15 years' time, the Asian consumer market will be twice the size of America. And therefore, the issue for Britain, America, and the rest of Europe will be how much we can sell to these markets. And at the moment, only 1% of our trade is with China, 1% of our trade is with India, yet between them, they are 2.5 billion of the world's people. So what is happening is that power is shifting in the world, and the question is, why has that happened? And what does that mean for the trends of the future? And it's really due to two things. The reason that we've seen this massive change is that we have global flows of capital now. So capital moves around the world. And the result of that is that 2/3 of investment will in future be in Asia and the rest of the world, and not in Europe and America. And the second thing that's happening is the global sourcing of goods. So they can be sourced from just about any part of the world. They can be assembled in different parts of the world. And the question really for us is, what does that mean for jobs here? What does it mean for the prospects for Europe and America, for that matter, for the future? And what does that mean for the changes that we want to see in the world that would see less poverty, less inequality, less unemployment, less illiteracy, less ill health? Well, it seems to me the first thing that is going to happen, unless we do something about it, is Europe and America is going to have high unemployment in the years to come. So if we don't do anything about it, as Asia moves forward, Europe and America are going to slip backwards relatively, and they may slip back absolutely if nothing is done about it. So we have got to have a plan to make sure that this generation of young people, and I include you here, this generation have got the best job opportunities for the future. The second thing that's going to happen is, of course, the Chinese, Indian and Asian middle class, Brazilian middle class, Russian middle class, they're all going to grow substantially. What about the rest of the world? What about Africa? What about Latin America? What about the other countries in Asia, the Pakistans and the Bangladeshs? What is going to happen to them? Now just look at Africa for a minute. despite everything we've done on aid and development, still you've got this situation where Africa, with 15% of the population, has got such poverty because it's only getting 1% of the investment for the future that the world is offering, and only 1% of the world's manufacturing is coming out of Africa. But see, what do you do about it? You've got a world that is changing so fast, massive technology, massive advances both in medicine and in other areas that's giving people potential for a better quality of life. You've got a middle class that's going to grow from 1 billion to 3 billion over the next few years, but you're going to have billions of people still left out. Now, I suggest that the only way you can deal with these huge forces that are at work, changing our society, is first of all, you need a global growth plan. You need countries to work together to deliver it. If all the countries that are financial centres take the similar action by international action. Global problems, because they are global now, cannot be met by simply national solutions. You need international solutions. So, a global growth plan. If you acted in the way that I'm suggesting, in the next few years, by 2014, you could create about 50 million extra jobs from what is being planned at the moment. If you coordinated the policies of China, America and Europe and worked together, and China consumed more because it's not consuming enough, and lots of people are still poor in China. America invested more, Europe dealt with its unemployment, which is a big, big problem hitting us, then you could take action. Now, if we don't take action, I tell you, youth unemployment is already 20% in Britain. Youth unemployment is 20% in the rest of Europe. Youth unemployment is 20% in America. Youth unemployment is 40% in Spain. Youth unemployment is going to rise over the next few years, and that's why you've got to have a global growth plan. You've got to coordinate action across the economies so that each economy can grow and you can deal with unemployment and deal with poverty. So you need a global growth plan, you need a global financial system that makes sense of how you can manage the individual national banking systems, and you need action specifically on the developing countries that can benefit because they are lost consumers and they can be part of a growth plan for the world. Divided, we will surely fail, but united, we can conquer poverty, unemployment, illiteracy, disease, war and conflict. That was Kennedy's message in 1960. That is the message that I want to bring to you today. That what I have seen and what I've been through in the last few years makes me absolutely convinced that whatever the vagaries of national politics and the insecurities that people now feel in this country, it is something that is happening in every industrialized country in the world. That there is no way that you can solve the problems that we face, and indeed other countries can solve the problems they face, without enhanced international cooperation. That we're in the same position that we were 2 centuries ago when we had to move from local to national decision making. We've now got to move from national to international and global decision making. And you are the first generation that can be part of what is going to be a truly global society. We've got to think about how we can work with other countries to make these changes. We've got to think about how together we can actually change the world as one. And I think we should have confidence that working together as an international community, and this is an international university here with contacts in the rest of the world, we can actually do things that people now think impossible. People thought it impossible apartheid would go. People thought it was impossible that the Cold War would end. People thought it was impossible you could put a man on the moon in 1960. People thought it was impossible we could get debt relief for the poorest countries in the world. People thought it was impossible you could get countries to sign up to the Millennium Development Goals. But these things did happen. And I believe over the next few years, if we work together, then we can achieve these ambitions of not just building a stronger economy, but building a global society where the objective of that society is to free people, as Kennedy said, from poverty, illiteracy, from disease, from conflict, from war. I think that is a goal that is worth fighting for. Thank you very much.
I just want to thank, on behalf of everybody at the university, I want to thank Gordon Brown for coming along tonight. Truly great to have you here, and hopefully you'll come back and tell us more about this at some point in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.